Did you self?
Oh, sure.
Start the video.
I'll do my grandson.
Once I saved it, this is a 2-year career.
Thanks. Okay, good morning, everyone. It is September 5th. We're here for our regular Board of County Commissioners meeting, first meeting of the
Tee it up for a special meeting or by the next regular meeting. I know she has someone who's waiting to apply for that, and since the rules and stuff have changed, we feel it's important to get that in place before we proceed with that application. So we'll work to get that done as soon as possible.
Okay, so if we need to do a special meeting before the 19th, we can do that, like the 19th.
Would be, yeah, if we're unable to schedule one for it, then we will just have it on the next regular meeting.
Okay. So we'll remove item 4. And I don't think there's any other changes to the agenda. Do you have anything?
No.
To change?
No.
Okay,
No.
okay. Commissioner Fiedler?
No, it's all good.
Great. All right, well, with the removal of item 4, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda with the removal of item 4.
So moved.
I'll second. Any further discussion?
None for me.
All right, hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great. And we'll move on to our community informational items. Commissioner Fiedler, do you have anything for us today?
Maybe just mention that Commissioner Marcel is at a Economic Development Corporation meeting, so can't be here today because we got double booked. But other than that, nothing from me.
I will just mention the wrap up of the COSWAP Wildfire Swift crews that have been out at CMC and county campus and property doing wildfire mitigation. Their last week was last week, so all that work that we were awarded with the 28 weeks of Swift crew, it should be complete, and we'll be working on wrapping up the reporting on that, and there might be another opportunity that is similar to that Swift crew work that we'll look into. Again, all that firewood that's been collected and stored out there is available for the public to collect. If you'd go to either Public Works or if you're going on CMC campus to the main office there, they'll give you a permit and give you directions on where you can collect. All right, next on our agenda is public comments on items not on the agenda. Anybody, any public, you have comments?
Well, yeah, I guess I should have done community information. But I'd like to introduce our new grant writer and administrator, Catherine Greer. Today is her first day.
Welcome.
We're excited to have her on board.
Great, nice of you to be here, Catherine. Welcome. Yeah. We're excited to have you.
I'm glad to be here.
Lots to learn, so just
Yep.
Lots going on. Excellent, thank you, Tim. Do we have any other public that would like to make comments on items that are not on our agenda today? We have nobody in the room. And not seeing any, I don't know if he's raising his hand. Could you move that box for me, please? Thank you, okay. Peter, I see you're unmuted. Would you like to make a comment, or are you just here to observe today?
No,
Okay. All right. We will move on to our new items of business, and first on our agenda is the proclamation for National Suicide Prevention Month. Jill Anderson reached out to me with Sol Vista. We have Brian Turner and Jill Anderson here with us in the room. Very happy to make this proclamation and generate awareness. And I would love to turn it over to both of you to give us some more information and how you're continuing the promotion of awareness throughout the month.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you making time on the agenda for what is a really important resolution and an important thing that we talk about and be aware of in our communities, which is the just persistent and very serious issue of suicide. We have some of the highest suicide rates in the world in the United States. In the Rocky Mountain West region of the United States, those are the highest rates in the country. And within the Rocky Mountain region, some of our counties, including Lake and all of these other high country communities, are among the leaders there. So you think of what that means. Unfortunately, this part of the world has some of the highest suicide rates out there. And I think it's also really important to recognize that while that is a very serious issue, there are also things that we know we can do to help address that. There are ways that we can prevent suicide, and there are ways that we can also help families, loved ones, and communities after they have lost somebody to suicide. Sol Vista Health has been in the community for over 60 years, been in this region working on the issue of suicide with a lot of partners, including the counties. And we're really grateful for that. We've been expanding our services. We received some really cool grants recently, one of which is going to help us target Spanish-speaking population, underserved youth, and veterans. So we've got dedicated resources, people on the ground in all of our communities who are going to be working on overall mental health, wellness, well-being for our communities, and specifically trying to address the issue of suicide. So thank you for, again, recognizing September is Suicide Prevention Month and reading this resolution. Your support, I think, is a really powerful demonstration to the rest of the community that we're going to tackle this issue, we're going to talk about suicide, and we're going to do something about it as well.
Specific to Lake County, on the 23rd of September, we will be hosting a film viewing made by John Padilla, the young man who lost his brother at the age of 15 to suicide. And he's such a ski enthusiast and saw what's happening in the region. This is his second film that has come out that is going to lead the community some answers and some resources and some realities of what we're serving and why. So that'll be taking place here in Lake County at the high school on the 23rd of September. We are going to all 4 of our counties those 4 nights from the 20th through the 23rd. So we invite the community to join us there. The viewing will be, the doors will open at 5:30, the film will start at 6:15, and we will be having a community panel discussion after. So I think the main thing here is just to make sure we keep constant education and communication going. People understand that they are not alone and that Sol Vista is here to serve.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, me and my family have been personally affected by suicide in this county, and it is heart-wrenching. And I do appreciate you reaching out and all the resources available. The county is doing our part. We hope to increase the access with our new investment in our facility and co-locating. I mean, every little bit helps to have folks for their access to be made that much easier. We have a new aging wellness coordinator as well, and so the senior center, we're hoping that our COG and senior center services and veteran services officer really can kind of get build a relationship and understand how we can either better provide services or just simply better network and build relationships across the community. On another note too, with our wildfire mitigation, Team Rubicon, I don't know if you are familiar with Team Rubicon, but they're an organization coordinating veterans to do this service work and do response to disasters in their downtime of not responding to disasters. They organize the fuels mitigation work for that social networking and that support for veterans. Our liaison, David Zeitz, unfortunately informed me that we had lost 3 more one of his very good friends and a couple other folks to suicide in the last few weeks. So these programs are really important, and we want to provide what we can and understand better all the time. So yeah, I'd be happy to read the resolution. All right, so our resolution number 12, resolution number 23-12, a resolution proclaiming September as Suicide Prevention Month in Lake County. Whereas suicide is a leading cause of death, with 1 death happening every 11 minutes, and whereas 12.3 million people seriously consider suicide, 3.5 million made a plan, and 1.7 million attempted suicide, and whereas Americans with higher than average rates of suicide are veterans and people who live in rural areas, and whereas suicide and suicide attempts cause serious emotional, physical, and economic impacts, and whereas suicidal thoughts and behaviors are often decreased when there is family and community supports and access to healthcare, and whereas Solvista Health is recognized as our county leader working to prevent suicide on a daily basis, Lake County is proud to join forces with Solvista Health in suicide prevention by formally recognizing their efforts and supporting the ongoing work of prevention in Lake County. Now therefore be it resolved, now therefore let it be proclaimed by the County Commissioners of the County of Lake, State of Colorado, that September 2023 is hereby designated as National Suicide Prevention Month in Lake County. The County Commissioners do urge all people of Lake County to become educated on suicide prevention awareness and support those affected by suicide during this month and throughout the year. Thank you for bringing this to us.
Thank you.
I move that we approve resolution 2023-12, designating September 2023 as National Suicide Prevention Month in Lake County.
I will second. Any further discussion?
None for me.
Thanks again. Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Can I take a quick photo with Brian with you too?
Sure,
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you, I appreciate that. You guys can just stand in front of the flag or something, whatever you want.
Sure.
Then we'll get out of your hair and let you proceed with your business. Great, thank you so much. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Jill. Thanks, Bonnie.
Appreciate it.
Okay, moving on to our item 2, new business. We have discussion and consideration of an amendment to the cost of the fleet evaluation from Fire Services Solutions LLC in the amount of $13,500, and we have Chief Daly here to lead this discussion.
Hey, good afternoon or good morning still. So there was an increase from Brian Brown, the apparatus consultant that we want to hire to come in and meet a lot of NFPA standards for our process for capital improvement and what we can do better as an organization for all of our fleet. So there was communication back and forth, and increases in his insurance, I think, was his greatest impact. So from that, here we are again having a discussion to get more funding for the actual cost of what it's going to be for him to come out and do his work that's needed.
Yeah.
All right. Any other, I mean, that was, sorry, this was a $3,000 or $3,500 increase? is that right? Yeah.
And there is an optional additional cost. I don't know if that was made in the decision prior to today, but he also states that there's an additional cost for a presentation of $2,500 at the very end, if we wanted to do that. I guess that's a topic of discussion.
Does that have to be decided on for the scope right now or an add-on?
It's,
Not sure.
he just has it down in red on his scope of work. At the very end, it says optional additional cost on-site presentation to the city of Leadville and Lake County Commissioners based on the recommendation the city finds. So I don't know if we want to also have that as a decision today, so that we don't have to come back for that, or if that is something we won't have to come back for.
I recommend wait, because I'd like to review the scope of work again to see, because to me, that's something that should have been included in the original quote. If he was gonna charge for a presentation, I guess, of his findings and recommendations and stuff, that should have been included in his original scope of work. So I wanna take a look at what we received to see, in fact, if it was referenced or noted as an additional cost. And
Okay.
so, since he hasn't, if we're not at that point yet, then I would suggest waiting on the additional amount.
And I vaguely remember that there was additional cost on that, but that's.
It might have been,
that's a
yeah,
great idea.
referenced that, and if that was the case, then there should have been a quote for it. Or when it was originally approved in the original amount, it should have been brought up then. So
Right.
my suggestion would just wait right now for what it is. If this is just to cover the additional cost of his insurance for what he's doing, then I think that's appropriate.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then remind me, Chief, how long will this work take to complete? Did we get an estimate from,
3 to 5 days, 3 to 4 days, 3 to 4 business days.
of the entire fleet evaluation?
Yeah.
Okay. Will that include, okay,
It this includes, this consulting fee, materials, air travel, hotel, meals, transportation, and liability insurance.
and he'll be out here on site to do inspection of the vehicles and whatnot?
Correct.
Is that, okay,
Yeah, so he's pretty booked out, so I don't know when that will happen. I'm kind of hoping that it would happen this year. I don't think that, if we can fit it in, I hope that we can get the findings of what he's going to do prior to us getting into the depths of the budget sessions. So we have a greater idea and greater documents for that.
okay. And then, will part of his evaluation also expand to, like, suggestions on promoting us having another EVT engineer or mechanic in-house and,
That's correct,
yeah,
yes.
okay,
Yep, under the 16 topics that he discusses under the scope of work, that's one of them there on how we can have better fleet maintenance and what does that overall broad scope look like? And how we can make that better.
excellent, okay. Yeah, if you would just let us know when you might get that actually scheduled, that would be great, and also maybe looking at that kind of add alternate, I imagine he might wanna do that while he's here and has scheduled that time, so if you let us know when that is, what would be planned for, that'd be great.
Okay.
I don't have any other questions.
Yeah, no, I mean, we had gone over the scope sort of before, so yeah, no further questions on that.
Well, sorry, I do have one more question. Seeing that fleet, that training, part of, let me scroll down. I'm so, here, I should just look online. Right in front of you. Sorry, there was a there was training in there mentioned.
Yeah, number 8, fleet staff training, certification and competency. So like the scope work,
Yeah.
so on them.
Yeah. Would that, does that include just a certain amount of firefighters and folks like in charge or of maintaining or operating certain fleet vehicles, or will that be for everyone?
I venture to guess that what he's talking about here is, what is the overall certification and competency level of EVTs currently that are working on our vehicles? And what does their training look like? That's what I would
Okay,
assume that he's,
and or maybe somebody managing kind of the administration and the lifetime of each of these vehicles and producing kind of impacts and budget requests every year and the maintenance schedules perhaps?
so under our, currently right now, I have an apparatus coordinator that does that.
Okay,
So I don't know if that's under number 8 specifically.
okay. No, that's okay. Right, I'm sorry, I don't have any other questions on that for you.
Yeah, and I did look up the scope of work, and it did have as the optional thing down there, an additional $2,500. Where he was saying his insurance cost him $3,000 to cover this work he's doing.
In addition, that's what he's saying, the increase was significant.
That seems really, needs to look at that.
It does seem to have a lot.
Yeah.
Not sure how we handle that.
It's,
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the increase. That is the amount of the increase from the original quote.
Is the $3,000,
Right,
yeah.
right.
And that just seems. Because usually contractors, that's the cost of their doing business, is providing insurance coverage for the services they provide. It's not usually something that the client pays the full charge on, because it covers them not just for this gig, obviously, but for any other work that they're doing for others.
Did anybody ask that question?
I mean, I didn't.
Okay. I wasn't sure how much this may or may not have already been discussed in management board, whatnot.
He does quote that it's, the entire market insurance rates, plans, coverages, and appetite for risks have changed drastically in the past 2 years. So I don't know if that's like he's finally catching up with his liability policy for the past 2 years. I don't know. He said they've increased radically to reflect the current market for the size of risk for his company.
Yeah, and that was never separated out in the past. I mean, this was done last year, with him, I believe, as well. He had a contract or something. It started in 2022. That I see from my notes, and I don't remember any issues with insurance being brought up at that time.
Agreed.
Yeah, first of all, I agree with your point. I mean, we shouldn't, like, presumably he's getting insurance for like his whole year's worth of business that should be parceled out across all the projects. But at the same time, like if he's making recommendations for like emergency services stuff, that's a lot more liability than like a policy memo.
Oh, yeah, and that's one of the reasons the insurance should be required.
Yeah.
I mean, if we wanna ask someone to make a phone call and ask that question again, but otherwise I know we've been talking about getting this work done for quite some time. Chris, would that be something that you would want to?
I'm happy if he
ask?
wants to approve it pending final legal review or something like
And
that,
then we
and I
can
can
have-
find out, get some more information on it.
Just call.
Otherwise, it was just related to insurance costs to see.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can approve it sort of like up to that increase and just ask that pointed question of whether is that really like our fair share of that
Mhm.
increase?
Yeah.
Cause this isn't, I mean, just looking at the number of days of work, this isn't like half of his whole year's work or
Yeah.
something.
Exactly.
But I have no idea what insurance costs for that kind of work. So does that make sense to approve it like
Yeah.
up to that increase?
yeah, and with, asking legal to do a final review and connect with
Sure.
the vendor? That'd be great.
Okay, well, so I move that we approve the amendment to the cost of the fleet evaluation from Fire Services Solutions LLC, up to a total of $13,500, and pending final legal review, and asking staff to ask a couple further questions of the consultant regarding that, the exact details of that insurance cost increase being passed on to us.
I'll second. Any further discussion?
None from me?
All right,
I'll be in touch.
great. All right, hearing no further discussion, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Chief Daly.
Thank you.
All right, item 3, we have discussion and consideration of an amendment to the professional service agreement with Teak Simonton, increasing the pay not to exceed $10,000 for election services, and this conversation will be led by our clerk, Tracy Lauritsen.
So, I'm sure you realize we lost our elections specialist to go to law school, so good for her, bad for us. So I'm going to have to rely more on Teague, who is the former Eagle County clerk and recorder for many years. She's going to add in the review of all our election plans, including election plan, security plan, contingency plan, watcher plan. Our logic and accuracy testing that has to occur before the election, judge training, and she will be here on election day to help us with the closing of the election. So I don't know if we'll get to 10,000, but I don't wanna short her either.
Okay. Yeah, that seems reasonable, I think. What, any questions for Tracy?
Not really, I didn't see the PSA in the,
It should be in Teams, it's not, we have received, and Teak has signed it, we're just waiting for the version back with the notary certificate on it, so
maybe I just
they
didn't
have
open
signed
up
off on it, but
things.
yes, I'm
Yeah, no, I'm actually just curious on the scope of work, I mean, to see all the things that has to happen in that office.
Yeah.
But that list that you gave verbally, that's a lot of stuff.
let's see here, I can, get to it, I have it.
I do have a question for you that came up. Is there any issue with the school district election and having that on the ballot?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Is there a concern?
I thought that, the school district had told us that they were told that the clerk's office couldn't run the election. And I didn't know
We're
whether that
required
was,
to run their election.
Right, and
It's
we
in
had-
statute.
and we had passed the IGA, including the school and the city.
Yeah, I don't know who told you that, but the clerk's office is required. Other special districts, we are not, like, water and sanitation. But school districts specifically is called out in statute that we have to run their election.
okay.
The only question I heard was, Bunny did contact me because they do not have any competitive races for their school board directors. However, because they're putting a bond issue on the ballot, they have to include the directors on the ballot. And she wasn't sure if she could cancel a portion of the
Portion.
ballot. And I said, no, if you have a bond issue, then you have to include everything on
There
the
just,
ballot.
there just won't be choices.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, you just vote for three, and
Okay.
that
Okay,
was the only thing I'd heard.
okay. Yeah, and I wasn't sure, having been involved briefly in the conservation district elections, there's an elections officer, and I wondered if that was confusing
So,
between the
guess
district
what,
officer.
election rules are very strict. So every district has a designated election official, so the city is, Hannah Shear, it's their designated. So they validate their own ballot content, and they provide it to me, and I put it in exactly how it's provided. So they have to verify their own ballot content, so the school district, I don't approve it, I don't do anything, they provide it to us, we put it on the ballot. So each district has their own designated election official, and then I am the certified election official.
Got it, okay, that might be the confusion. Okay,
We're completing that scope of work for you right now.
Thanks.
thank you, Chief. Just a minute.
It's just,
It should be in there now, it should be. I hope I did that right.
unfortunately, the previous clerk didn't do a real good job of training staff to run elections.
See, not a lot of redundancy.
I imagine we'll get some, like-
Everyone's being trained.
yeah,
this
everyone's
time
being
around.
trained, but also like some, current standard operating procedures recorded, and maybe we can have that in the office for.
Well, the
your
standard operating
that you-
procedures are
statutory.
sent down by, they're either, statute or rulemaking by the Secretary of State, so.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. Does anyone
Yeah,
else?
no, I'm good.
Okay. Go ahead.
I move that we approve the amendment to the existing professional services agreement with Teague Summerton, increasing the pay not to exceed $10,000.
Yeah, second, any further discussion?
None for me.
Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, we removed 4, and so,
To the
Now-
E911.
yeah, discussion and consideration of amendment to the previously approved Lake County 911 Authority intergovernmental agreement, amending section 1.06A2, 2, to include the parties do not intend for this agreement to constitute the creation of a debt, multi-year fiscal obligation, or an obligation of future appropriations contrary to the Colorado Constitution or any other constitutional, statutory, or charter debt limitation. Charter debt limitation. Tim, do you have more to give us background on this? This came from, I think, final review from the hospital board. Is that right?
Sure, yeah. So this amendment to the E911 agreement is at the request of St. Vincent Hospital District, specifically, calls out not creating multi-year fiscal obligations, which is something their former CEO did, which is one of the reasons the hospital's in the financial situation they're in. So they asked for that to be specifically called out, and other than that, they have approved the IGA. They just requested that the county and the city and then the hospital district approve this amendment.
Thanks. I don't have any questions for Jim.
Yeah. Do you have any concern with that addition?
No,
Yes, that seems like a good thing not to create.
Yeah.
It's kind of belts and suspenders if you ask
Yeah,
me, so
right.
it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
extras.
That's okay.
They had that specific ask. I don't think, in future years as we work through, hopefully if the city council and the hospital pass this amendment and the E911 board is, live and can do its work, then, the only thing to consider is, what happens if, a jurisdiction chooses not to fund it, but that's already called out in the IGA, and the length of time to notice and to pay and do all of that, so.
Yeah, cause that
it's all
will,
in there.
if the creation of this includes a new facility and a new space, and we'll need to do some work for sure to make sure that it all doesn't fall apart with the increased staffing and
Yeah.
housing. Okay. Any other questions?
None for me.
Alrighty, I don't have any either.
I move that we approve the amendment to the previously approved Lake County E911 authority, the IGA, with the amendment. Do you want me to read the whole amendment out, or, it's on. So amending section 106A to 2.
Okay, I will second. Any further discussion?
None for me.
Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Alright, and on to our last item of new business, discussion and consideration of land use application for a conditional use permit for an auto repair shop. A public hearing was held on August 14th before the Planning Commission and the Board of County Commissioners. And this is file. Hold on.
C 2318.
Oh, excellent. Okay, file number 23-18. And I have no further questions on this. This is, for background, at the hearing, the owner of the facility is looking to lease their business, and the slight change in the operations from steel and manufacturing to an automotive shifted its use by right. And so we needed to go through a conditional use permit for the location for the proposed use of the automotive business. I think it was a unanimous suggestion of approval from the Planning Commission. And as I said, I don't have any other questions to you, Commissioner
Yeah,
Fuller.
no, it seemed straightforward and didn't seem, no controversial conditions in there.
Can I make a point of order?
Please.
This is not on the agenda that's posted anywhere on the website.
Thanks for letting us know, Tracy.
Okay. All right, then we will table this.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tracy. We'll table this to September 19th, and unless we schedule a special meeting before then. But yeah, we cannot hear that without having it
Oh, yeah.
properly posted.
Good catch. Actually, that's something, yeah, I always just look at the agenda on Teams, but we should probably just make a habit of double checking.
And I
what's
usually
posted.
look at what's
Okay.
posted, and I did not this time.
Yeah.
I looked at Teams, but yeah. Alright.
Okay.
Very good. Then we are done with our new business items and moving on to the consent agenda. Let me pull. Okay, we have the approval of accounts payable packet, approval for payroll July 14th, July 18th, and August 11th. Approval of the August 1st minutes, regular meeting minutes, and the approval of August 2nd, special meeting minutes. Tracy, I think I missed August 1st meeting minutes, but I saw the
Okay,
second.
I also sent out July 26th and July 28th, but
Yeah,
we
they're,
can do
they're
that
on
again.
here in our
Oh, alright.
notes.
I didn't have any comments on the second.
And on the second, sorry, let me split up, I don't think anything really substantive.
Okay.
I just did them as track changes. Sorry, let me. I think there's just a little typo, it says 3 are currently, and it should be there, are currently. And then in that following sentence, it says, BOCC approved the request by the interim assessor. It just got a little confusing to me, like, it's like the BOCC approved the request by the interim assessor to have the county Board of Equalization elect to use, or I wasn't sure, like, do we actually?
Unfortunately, when you make a motion, I have
To
to
ru-
say it.
Okay, so we said it a little garbled, okay, then, I as I did that, I was like, wait, what did we actually, I didn't go back to the report. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was awkward, but that
Okay.
is the way it was made.
Okay, then, let me just delete those changes.
I actually had it says it was not going to open up the protest period, and I thought we could add, it was not going to reopen the protest period, because it remains open, the protest period remains open.
I have to say it exactly how it was said verbatim in the motion.
That's not the motion,
Oh.
no. That was a preamble to the motion.
So it does not open up the protest period. So in other words, if no one has protested before the proper deadline, it doesn't reopen.
It doesn't reopen it,
Yeah.
right, I was thinking we could put reopen the
Doesn't-
protest period. It does not reopen the protest period. Can we,
Do you have a legal opinion?
One, I'm sorry,
Wording
of,
oh, the minutes on the August 1st?
the extra time frame does not open up the protest period or reopen the protest period.
yeah, it doesn't, that's what the state advised, that by changing to the alternate, it doesn't change the protest period for the folks wanting to file, it only allows for the additional time for the CBOE.
It extends the timeline, it does not reopen
No,
the protest period.
No.
I was suggesting that we put reopen. Instead of just having-
Not open up the protest
it
period.
doesn't reopen, that's how it should have been stated if it wasn't, for clarity.
I think
it
that
does
would be
not reopen
helpful,
it.
because people
Okay.
have been contacting us worried about their
Yeah.
determinations. Even though I'm sure nobody's running to the minutes to make sure to get clarity, but. And then. And Commissioner Fiedler, did you have anything on the first? I
No.
don't see anything on
No,
the first.
others looked good.
Okay, so Tracy, I don't think we posted the minutes on July?
Yeah.
Just the first and the second, the minutes for the first and the second. So we can add those outstanding minutes to the 19th,
Okay.
please? if you could help us,
Hopefully there'll be
List
some
what
more.
okay, okay.
Wait, so sorry, Sarah, you wanna move the July 26th to consider that at our next meeting?
Is that the only set, Tracy?
There's also the 28th you should have received.
July 26th and July 28th set of minutes? Okay. Right, to our September 19th. Right.
What are
Okay.
you moving to the next meeting?
We need to put on July 26th, regular, I think regular, well, are they
But
both-
they're both special meetings.
they're both special meeting. The special meeting minutes for July 26th and July 28th. We need to do final approval. And then with that small change with reopening on the minutes for the second, I don't think we have any other comments.
The typo of 3 to there.
Oh, yep. There was a typo in the meeting minutes on the second. Just needed to be changed from 3 to there. Says there are, or it says 3 are currently 8 other counties. There are, so it should be there are currently 8 other counties, all still extending the time frame. And I think that should be it.
So I can
There
start.
are 8 other counties? I thought you said there were 3 other counties.
So,
This is not the,
it's right in the
Which one
middle.
are we talking-
the August 2nd one.
Sorry.
Just, that's okay. Just 3 should be there.
Oh.
It's just
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay.
do you wanna do these separately, or should I try to say it all together, other changes? I guess we gotta break up the consent agenda. So I move that we approve the accounts payable packet, that we approve payroll for July 14th and July 28th and August 11th, and the regular meeting minutes from August 1st as presented, that we approve the special meeting minutes from August 2nd with changing opening to reopening and correcting the slight typo of 3 to there. And finally, that we move the special meeting minutes of July 26th and 28th to September 19th for our next regular meeting.
Okay, I'll second that. Any further discussion?
None from me.
So hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
I should go last. All right, and that should conclude our meeting then for today. Yeah, that was it. And at 11:53, we will adjourn. All right, thank you very much.